Welcome back to the Michigan State Hockey Hub. This is episode number 3 already on the year and of the day. So we're going to jump right in. This one's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more fun. Nate and I, and sometimes Jeremy, do these long hour and a half podcasts before each season. And I was hoping we can make them shorter, kind of break them up. And then Nate suggested doing so. So I was going to do the prediction episode by myself, and Nate wants in. So we're going to do it. Nate, did you make any predictions last year that ended up hitting? Because I think you did.
I think I did, yeah. I think you guys both said Howard as top point scorer, which technically was true, but I did say Dark Horse Levshunov, and he was second. So
yeah, and I
you
think
also said O'Connell would make a really big impact, and he did.
And I think it was either last year.
Sometimes, you know, that's good.
Yeah, and at one point it was either last year or year before, you mentioned Tanner Kelly like taking a jump or something that happened. And so if you all are listening, go to your gambling apps and do whatever Nate tells you to do, right? All right, let's jump right into it. First off, which player will have the most goals this year for Michigan State? The most goals.
Most goals. I think he was tied for second last year, but I'll go with Carson Dorward. I think just the opportunity he's going to have being on the top line, power play is he's going to be a focal point of it. Had 2 shorthanded goals last year. Maybe add a couple in there. So I'll go Dorward, but I could definitely see a guy like Ike Howard or Gavin O'Connell being one of those guys.
I'm gonna go with Howard. You convinced me after you told me about hitting so many posts and whatnot, and man, you know the skills there. He's gonna be on the top line. He'll get plenty of power play time. Like I think it's clicking this year for him to finish those chances that he had last year. So I'll go with Ike Howard. Next, most points. I'm just gonna say Ike Howard as well. Most goals. I think he'll get plenty of assists, like we've seen. He's gonna be my top point producer this year. Do you have a different answer for most points?
I'll go a little out of the box. I'll say Red Savage. You know, he's going to be obviously playing on a same line he did last year. He kind of was another guy who cooled off a little bit in the second half, but he's a really good distributor of the puck, and he'll again be on one of those power play units. So yeah, give me the captain.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot, actually. Most underrated. Or you know what? I want to rephrase this. I'm going to say most, how do I want to phrase this? Pretty much like I don't want it to be someone in the top 6. So pretty much I'm looking for like who's the bottom 6 guy who's going to really impact this team. You can call that most underrated, most improved, whatever you want it to be, but I wanted to be a bottom 6 guy from this group.
Are we talking specifically forwards then?
Yes. Okay. And then we'll do defense.
I'll give one newcomer and one returner. How about that?
Okay.
Returner, I think Tommy Ministo is going to have a big year. He showed some flashes last year, only 1 goal, but you know that line scored a pretty good amount for being a 4th line for Michigan State last year. But he's got a ton of skill. I think he's probably the fastest guy on the team. So give me Ministo as the returner, and I think Mikey D'Angelo, as a freshman, is going to make a big impact. I don't know if he's going to be quite to the level of Gavin O'Connell's freshman year last season, but I think he's going to score some goals, and I think he's going to be an impactful freshman for Michigan State.
I phrased this the way I did because I came up with my answer and then worked backwards. I deconstructed it, and Tommy Ministo was the player who I wanted an opportunity to talk about for the same reasons. His speed can really impact play, and he's able to carry the puck well, and I think that he has some grit to him, and I think he is just like the type of player who, in the right situation, it can unlock. And Last year we saw, like, at times it looked good, and at times there was a little bit of just, freshman to him, and I think he's this close to taking that legit next step. So I'll go with Tommy Monisto. Same question, most improved slash underrated from the blue line.
Real quick, just back to Manisto. When I talk about him, I look back at one specific play, and it was last season, Michigan State hosting Minnesota. They were down 3-1 heading into the third. They got an early goal, but the game-tying goal there was a shorthanded one from Dorwart. But the work, Manisto stole it, beat 3 guys, took it to the net, didn't get credited with the goal because Dorwart was there to clean it up. But that's the kind of stuff that he's capable of. So, yeah, I'm high on Manisto as well. In terms of most improved blue liner, I know Matt Baskell had 15 assists last year, but I really think he's going to take a step up in the goal scoring department. I think he's going to quarterback one of those 2 power plays, and he's definitely has the capability to do it. So give me Baskell to put more goals in the net and produce from the blue line for Michigan State.
I am going to actually go with an unconventional answer, and that's David Gucciardi. I think he just has more to his game than what we saw it his freshman year. We've seen it in glimpses. He's had some injuries. It doesn't feel like he's had that momentum of being able to play a large stretch of good, consistent hockey. But I know
he played hurt for most of last year.
Yeah.
So he was,
I know the skill's there. So I'm going to say he's going to be very much improved from what we've seen more recently. He's had the highlight goals and whatnot his freshman year and whatnot. So give me David Gucciardi for a really nice bounce back senior year. Next, freshman of the year. This can mean it's a strong defensive player who doesn't put up the most points. It could mean, whatever you wanted. The most impactful freshman is what we'll call it. Who do you think that will be?
I know I just mentioned D'Angelo, but I'll go with Vlad Lukasevich on the blue line. Again, he's not going to be like Artie, but he has some of the similar skills. Maybe not the build, but he was a 4th-round pick. Really, really good USHL season last year in his first year there. He was the captain of his team back in Russia before that. He's got a lot of offensive skill. Obviously, a great mover of the puck, really good in transition, and that all just feeds into what Adam Nightingale wants. He wants the puck moving. He wants people to go up and down fast, transitioning out of the D zone fast. I think Lukasevich is a perfect fit for that, and I think he's going to have a really good freshman season.
I'll echo that. You just know a lot more than me about these freshmen, so I'll trust you and side with you on that pick. Team MVP, I'm going to go Trey Augustine. I mean, I think he is going to be the MVP of this team. I think that he's going to lead them to the highest highs that they can. If they lose Trey Augustine, I think it's a lot harder than if you lose, insert other player with this lineup. And I know that's kind of a cop-out, easy thing to say, but I just think he's so important and so damn good that I'll make him the team MVP for me.
Yeah, it's a kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, without Augustine, where is this team? So, yeah, Trey's going to have to be the MVP here. Just to go away from you, I'll say Carson Dorwart. I think he just takes another jump in his junior season. Really think the potential to be a 20-goal scorer is there, which is crazy to say, given his career path 3 years ago.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I'll take Dorwart, but obviously Augustine is the most important piece for Michigan State this season.
Best defenseman of the year. This is a little different than most improved defenseman. I didn't want to leave anyone, but now that I'm thinking about it, like the options aren't all that much different. So is there somebody else you would have for like best defenseman of the year?
Yeah, well, I do think Basgall improves in the goal scoring. I'll go Maxim Sturbach. I think he's just he's a tank on the blue line, just such a big physical presence. I think there are a lot of moments his freshman year where he didn't look like a freshman, and I think that's just going to continue to improve. He's just really sound. I think he's got a lot more to his transition and his offensive game too. You saw flashes of that when he was in the USHL. But he's got a really big shot from the point. I think he's got enough skill and footwork to really move well in the offensive zone too. So I'll take the sophomore Sturbach to have a really big season for them.
Last two here. These can be kind of quick answers. Where does Michigan State finish in the Big Ten standings?
It's just looking at the Big Ten. It's hard for me to say anything but first. I think they showed that they can win it. And then when I look at across the league, when the only two teams who return their goaltenders are Michigan State and Ohio State, like what is that? I mean, there's just too many question marks to me for the other teams. I think Minnesota, obviously really skilled. I think they might have some more offensive talent than Michigan State, as a whole. But there's just a question mark at goal, and Michigan State doesn't have that question mark. I think Augustine's going to be able to steal you, plenty of games this season, just with his play. So I think they'll repeat as Big Ten regular season champs.
The last time we did this preview, I looked into the camera last year and said Michigan State will win the Big Ten tournament. Or I said they would finish first in the Big Ten. I don't think I said they'd win the tournament, but I said it because I knew it doesn't mean anything. I can always delete this. Well, I didn't have to, and I'm doing it again this year. They're winning the Big Ten. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I don't want to say a different team. Last question. How far does this team go in the tournament if they get to the tournament? Impossible to answer. I understand. We don't know the tournament. It's just fun, Nate. Just say it all the way, make everyone happy, and we'll go on.
Well, if I'm predicting them to win the Big Ten, probably make a run in the Big Ten tournament. That means they'll be a 1 or 2 seed. They're likely going to be playing in Toledo, so I think that also helps with the amount of fans. It's a bigger venue than last year. Last year was kind of weird playing in Maryland Heights and not a very big arena, and just people had to travel. If they're in Toledo, I definitely think they have the capability to win a regional for sure. So I'll say the Spartans are able to make it to the Frozen Four this season. But I'll say they bow out in the Frozen Four. But
that's exactly where I am too. That seems like the natural next step in this whole team life cycle, whole development building, is a Frozen Four appearance. So I'll say the same. We will probably revisit these if we're right, and if we're not, you will not hear from us again. But thanks, Nate, for joining me again, and everybody have a great day and go green.